Hey everyone, welcome to the Withering Effect, episode 105. Today's date is July 25th,
Yep.
2021. I'm not used to saying the date first. This is new to us.
Right.
Well, it's people who listen to the show are just like, what? And I'm like, we used to have a pre-show and Jimbo would say the date in the pre-show and that's where I'd get the date from, but we've changed that.
Yeah, I always nailed the date in the post-show, but the pre-show, I'm in the same situation you are. I'm looking for it because it just comes up.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm Jimbo. You may know me as Jimbo Slice 23. So what have you been up to this week, Duds?
Yeah. I'll start with the non-Minecraft stuff. Get that over and done with and out of the way. One, I pushed myself doing a bit of a Jimbo-style workout stuff.
Hey.
So for the past year and a half, I've made it a goal to walk 5 miles at least 3 times a week. And that's kind of been my goal. Well, that has kind of plateaued and I've not really been losing any weight doing that anymore. So I started going into doing some, I won't say weightlifting because it wasn't weightlifting. It was body weight exercises.
Yeah.
And I think I threw my shoulder out.
Ooh.
Like, I can't lift my left arm above my chest.
It's not good.
Yeah, it's pretty painful, and it's been like that for a week. I'm starting to consider going to the doctor. But I don't like doing that because the doctor just be like, okay, we need to send you to go get x-rays, and then you need to come back. So then I'm being charged for the first doctor visit, then the x-rays, and then the second doctor visit just for that doctor to tell me I need to go see a different doctor that specializes in shoulders or something. It's like, for heaven's sakes.
Can be pricey.
Yep. The second thing is I went to mow the yard yesterday, and we all know I got stung last time I mowed the yard. And, well, it rained this week, and the yard was pretty thick. I was unable to find the yellow jacket nest that's been infesting my side yard. But I went out there. I found the nest before I went to mow it. I went to spray the nest, realized I was out of spray, so all I did was tick them off really bad. I was like, oh no. So I went inside, I put on my long compression socks, and I put on a thick pair of jeans. I was like, they're not stinging me today, I'm protected. Went through, mowed the yard, got through the first strip, coming around for the second strip. I got stung on the back because I was just wearing a t-shirt.
Oh,
I was like,
they can fly, Duds. You know they can fly.
I was like, those stupid things got me in the back.
That's the thing. Like, I can handle them like in the front of me, but they get on your blind side. You know, they can fly.
I was just like, whatever. You rub your back against the corner of a wall, scratch it, or it's like, that hurts. It's gonna itch for a week.
Yeah.
But I gotta get the yard done. So I go through, do a strip, come around, and I'm doing the 4th strip now. I get stung a second time in the back. It's like, I'm not even near your nest anymore. Knock it off. Yeah, so in 2 weeks, I've been stung 3 times. Needless to say, those guys are dying by the end of this week. We're done with this. I can handle bees because bees don't bother you unless you attack a bee. Even the wasps that I find near my house, as long as you're not messing with their nest, they don't even care either. But these yellow jackets, they live in the ground. You can't see where their nests are, so you accidentally step on them or you have to mow over them, and then they just full-on blown attack.
Yeah, like, I mean, put a sign up or something. We're here.
How about you don't live in the dirt like a worm?
Bees are here. And that's your property anyway, you know.
Yeah, get off my lawn.
Yeah, you got rights.
But, yeah, so that's it for my non-Minecraft week. Lots of pain. But when it comes to the game, I had a lot of fun this week. I've been building some, plateaus in my base. There's a section between my mountain and the beach. If you guys watched my last episode for Fisherman's Cove, you have to walk through this beach section to get to Fisherman's Cove. And on one side is this large flat beach, and the other side was this little tiny sand area next to the mountain. And I ended up raising that up 5 or 6 blocks and turning it into a plateau with some moss blocks and tall grass, some flowers. And then I put a palm tree right there. I thought it looked really good. And then I did that same exact thing for my nether portal inside the storage room. I've always hated how my nether portal in the storage room looked. It doesn't feel natural. It looks like I just put it there to cover up a nether portal because that's what I did. But now that I'm doing these plateaus, it really, really looks like it's supposed to be there. And I had a lot of fun with that. I ended up talking Para into quote unquote gardening my beach. And he's done a ton of decorating over there. It looks so good. That whole area has just come to life with color and everything now. I love the mountain right now. I'm super excited to keep working on it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't really able to get on the server.
I was going to say, what about your week?
Or much of any of that, because I put in my new parts for my PC. I got a new M.2 drive and a new power supply that I mentioned, and I installed everything, and everything was working except for my HDD. Now, this was pretty much for storage, and it had everything on it, like everything. My intro, all my music, pictures, thumbnail borders, my border for my thumbnail, all that stuff is on my HDD, and the computer will not recognize it for some reason. I don't understand. Another thing I was trying to do was migrate my OS operating system, Windows, from my SDD onto my M.2. Well, the program I'm using, there is some errors. I'm doing everything that I'm told to do. I've done it once for my old computer, and it worked, but it just won't migrate over, and that's fine. I'm okay with having my operating system on my SSD. It moves perfectly fine. Not really any issues there, but it's the HDD that will not. It's got everything. Got everything on it. I could play Minecraft, but like my recordings, video recordings, I had a file in my HDD that they went to, so I'll have to redo all that stuff, and it's definitely kills the motivation when you don't have the tools you need to make a video.
Yeah.
I have been working a good bit too. Got my job back. I think I mentioned that last time. And I only have so many hours in the day to do stuff now, and I come home from work and I jump on this computer to try to figure out what these issues are. I'm trying different things, different troubleshooting, and it just will not read my HDD, even in my BIOS. So, yeah, I contacted a computer company that's in the area, and the guy there said he could help me out. That there could be quite a few issues why it's not reading it, but he's pretty confident that he can restore all that. But yeah, it's definitely a headache, definitely a pain. I have an idea for my next episodes, like quite a few episodes coming up, and I want to make sure I have everything before I do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, my week's been, I don't know, rather irritating because of that.
Oh, I bet. I mean, there's nothing worse because you look at how long we've been doing this, and we've just been saving little things over the years that doesn't seem like a lot until you don't have it.
Yep. Yeah, I had a whole folder of sound effects.
Yeah.
Just saving different sound effects for my videos, and that's gone.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking like the simplest thing, like my transition in YouTube. Like that's for the most part a manual transition. I have to physically line up all the tracks and then add my own sound effect to it. It's not just a click, click, done. There's lining up and timing and everything that goes into it. And just losing the whoosh sound it makes would drive me bonkers, and I'd have to spend the next 20 minutes finding it.
Yeah, I did get lucky. I was looking in my downloads folder, and I saw like a bunch of music that I downloaded over the years, and they're still in my downloads folder, and they still work. So I was able to move most of the stuff that I needed into my M.2 and stored them there. So I did save some things, even like some the programs that I'm using that were saved to my HDD. The installations were still there. I still might want to go on the website and try to get the most up-to-date program, so I'm not going to download all these, but Audacity, I had to download that this morning so we can record the freaking podcast.
Man.
Because it was on my HDD. But everything's working. It seems to be okay. I can do certain things, but yeah, it hurts not having it.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, that's about it for my week.
I remember building this last PC. I copied every hard drive to another hard drive. Like I had basically a whole stack of extra drives just in case something happened. I would end up losing something. I could just copy it back and revert to it, which is what I had to do when I was trying to migrate my SSD to an M.2. I also had the program fail on me and start throwing out errors and stuff, which is weird because it copied from the HDD to the SD or SSD super easy.
Same here.
It was cake. But going from the SSD to the M.2, there's just something I was missing, and I was in the same boat as you. I go, it's not worth the hassle. The SSD works just fine. I just wanted a little bit quicker speeds, but it ain't going to bug me
right
if I don't have it. It's not like we're out here doing crazy things. It's like, yeah, my video editing might take an extra 2 minutes compared to the other stuff, and don't bother me.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it either.
But let's hop into the news because we do have a little bit of news today.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we had snapshot number 2 come out. I shouldn't say that. Experimental snapshot. So again, anything and everything we say could end up in the next snapshot, or it could all be gone. We don't know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So far, everything they've put in the experimental snapshots, I have liked.
Yeah, I want it.
Yeah. The big thing was a lot of bug fixes in this one. They had a lot of biomes that weren't in the old snapshot or in the first snapshot are now brought into the new snapshot.
Mm-hmm.
Biome placement in general is a lot smoother than it was before. You don't end up with the little micro biomes. Like you would have a field, and then I guess you could have one little dot of badlands in the middle of this plains biome. Stuff like that. I think the bigger one was swamps generated in very weird areas. Things like that.
I guess there was like desert temples in the middle of jungles.
Yeah, that was another thing.
Yeah, it's a good bug fix. Might want to fix that.
Yeah. The beaches have gotten beachier, which I'm super happy for. I saw the tweet going out. I think it was Henrik that posted the tweet. He was asking about and they went with beachier beaches, which I generally like, though they do have spots where there's no beach, just so it adds some variation, which looks really good. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I agree. Looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that I'm kind of about was they fixed the underground biomes, like the caves and stuff. I think it was the lush cave and the dripstone cave from interfering with the surface level biomes, which kind of stinks because a lush cave on the surface looked awesome. Like, it looked super cool. Now, they did say that these biomes can leak out of cave entrances. So there's a chance you'll get a small bit of it, but I don't think it's going to be on the same scale it was before. Makes sense. I get why they did it, but I'm still just like, but lush caves on the surface look so cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can always terraform the surface to look like a lush cave.
Oh, yeah. That's the best part about Minecraft.
Mm-hmm. Make anything look like another biome. You can move biomes, really, if you wanted.
Yeah. Another tweet, I think, from Henrik, where they were talking about mountain height. And they asked, where should the tallest mountain be? And I'm hoping it was my tweet that kind of put it out there. I kind of doubt it. There's probably a lot of people asking for this. But I really wanted a mountain peak, at least rarely, to be as tall as possible. So, like, you can be like, hey, our map has Mount Everest.
Right.
And how cool that is. So you'd have a landmark, and it turns out they actually...
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, they've increased the height of some of the peaks. They can now go between 220 to 260. So it's not quite all the way up towards build limit, but they're really, really tall now. But they're also pretty rare, which I like. So now if you get a rare, super tall mountain, you get to brag, I got this cool mountain on our map.
Yeah, you also got to climb it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's not like
you can just throw on your elytra and fly up there or anything.
Right. Or pearl up there.
Yeah.
They all noticed the cloud level. Also, they raised it up slightly, not too much. They still want that look of like the clouds going through the mountaintop, the mountain peak.
Yeah.
Which looks cool. I'm okay with that. I don't know. I think it's like 190 something is the level.
Yeah, my thing is...
I usually don't play with the clouds on, though.
Yeah. I've turned clouds off for at least the last 5 years.
Same here.
I think there should be multiple levels of clouds. Like you can do 3 levels.
Yeah.
And then you should be able to determine which level of clouds you want to turn on and off.
Yeah, it gets annoying if you were to build at that height clouds in your living room.
Exactly.
Or in your storage room, there's clouds seeping through.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a way to, at least in an enclosed area, clouds aren't generating in there.
That's what I was just about to say.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if a cloud cuts through a structure that has a roof or something like that, it doesn't drift through the enclosure.
Yeah, something along those lines, because that does get annoying.
Mm-hmm.
You either got to build above or below.
Yeah.
At least in this instance.
Well, talking about really high peaks, let's talk about some undergrounds, because they did some changes to the spawners, the spawner dungeons that you can find in caves and stuff. So one of the complaints people have been having about spawner dungeons, they're too easy, right? Too simple. I can throw a torch down and we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've made it so mobs can now spawn in light levels up to 11 in these spawner dungeons. Not on the surface. The surface and stuff and out in the world is still complete darkness. But in the spawner dungeon, anything in those spawners, was it zombie, skeleton, spider, cave spawners, light level 11 or below, they'll spawn. So you really have to put down more torches, which honestly isn't much more of a real challenge. Because I think what most people do is you go in, you kill the horde that's in there now, and you generally get a couple of seconds reprieve before the next set spawns.
Mm-hmm.
So you just start spamming torches around anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually I'll put one on the spawner and a couple on the walls.
Yeah.
Because they can spawn in a 9x9x9 radius. So above or below, they can spawn up there also.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to make sure all that is above light level 11 now.
I'm always a torch on the top, torch on every side, and then I do one torch on every wall. I am covered.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to worry about this change.
Mm-mm.
What we have renamed mountains, the old mountain biomes, to extreme hills. They call it extreme hills now, and the gravelly mountains to gravelly hills, to reduce the risk of people getting confused when they use locate biome to find new mountains and end up in the old mountains. So I guess that's convenient. I usually don't use those commands, but if you were to want to locate it, that does help.
Mm-hmm.
They slightly increase the chance of finding large areas with flat terrain. See, now I noticed a lot of like hilly areas, at least in the recordings I've seen. I do like that. All the different hills.
Yes. But I mean, you think about it, it makes sense. We talked about this. I can't remember if it was a pre or post show, if it was the regular show, about most people find a plains biome because it's nice and flat and that's where they build.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier now to find like a city location.
Yeah.
You can build.
We're getting this giant mountain update, but there's also now flat surfaces.
Which makes sense because there are plains in real life that stretch miles and miles.
Yeah.
I didn't really get to look at these, but I'm really curious how far they stretch.
Same.
I wouldn't mind if it was, 100 or so blocks, maybe a couple hundred. I think that would look pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, plains should always be relatively flat, not super flat, not the same block height all the way around. You need some variation.
Yeah, and I always feel like the plains are cut off by a forest relatively quick.
Yeah.
It's not always a huge area you get for the plains.
Yeah.
They also have meadows sometimes spawn a lone tree, often with a bee nest.
There are changes to meadows also that I didn't put in here. So there were a lot of notes for this week, and a lot of them didn't really feel worthy enough to put a note down. Like, meadows don't spawn the blue orchid anymore. That's only in swamps. If I had to find a blue orchid, I would go to the swamp anyways, because that's where I know it's going to be.
Yeah, I didn't realize they spawned in meadows.
They did for, I think, just the experimental snapshot.
Okay.
Was it sheep now spawn there? Now it's not just donkeys.
Sheep, rabbits.
Sheep and rabbits, yeah.
That's good. A little more life. I'm always okay with that. Besides the bee life. There's going to be bees there, apparently.
Yeah.
They're taking over. Bees are taking over. Can't even cut the grass.
No, I'm fighting yellow jackets. I'm not fighting bees.
They're bees.
No, they're not. They're totally different. They're more violent.
They're bees. Anyways, spawners have a new custom spawn rule tag, which lets you override spawn rule of a spawn mob.
Mm-hmm.
In the tag, you can specify block light limit, which indicates the highest block light the spawner will spawn mobs at.
Mm-hmm.
I said that weird. This changes to enable map makers to use spawners in a more customizable manner to spawn mobs at any light levels that they choose.
Yep. Light level 15. I got the feeling that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the last and final big news from the snapshot was we're not going to get any more for a while. A lot of Mojang's on vacation. They pretty much straight up said, this is the last one for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to have any news for a while, guys.
It's cool they give us the 118.
Yeah.
Generation. You got the height. You got the depth.
Mm-hmm.
And man, there's so much depth involved. I noticed some of the caves that from the surface, you can pretty much see down to like bedrock.
Well, that was one of the changes this time. That they said cave entrances won't be so large that they lead to deep slate. They're not going to be as deep and crazy like that anymore.
Okay. I think I noticed one hole that went pretty deep, but
there might be still a rare chance.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, random generation could lead to that. They still got your spaghetti caves, your large ore veins, all that fun stuff.
Yep. I can't remember if it was that they made the large ore veins larger or if they made them more common. I think it's more common.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I remember seeing that in the notes, and I was just we ran out of room in the notes. I was like, is this something that I need to put in the notes, or can I try to remember it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm real curious to mine into some of these ore veins with the granite.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was a little worried about deep slate, and then seeing how they implemented that for 117, it's I don't need to worry about deep slate. Once I find it, I find a ton of it.
Right. Yeah, get in that right area.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to be in the right area. You get down to 0. It's there.
Just look around. You'll find it.
Mm-hmm. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the changes they're making. Really hope this makes it to the 118.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I never got to play on it. I'm not sure how things are rendering. Videos that I've seen, it looks like it's rendering just fine. So hopefully that's not an issue.
Well, they made notes that they switched out what a bunch of... So you know how when you start a new world, you'll walk 10 blocks, and then all of a sudden a large group of sand just falls?
Yes.
Because of world generation stuff. So one of the things they did was they switched that out with sandstone and stone. Basically sandstone for the sand and stone for the gravel to keep that from happening. And they said that actually helps world performance a lot.
Okay.
Not so much of a chance of running into falling sand. I found so much falling sand on this season of Ripple Effect. It's not even funny.
A lot of things I know, like in the nether, when I'm flying around the nether and you see lava coming down from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
It helps to see that to know you're in a new place.
That's true too.
No one's been there. Probably find something no one's found before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're not customizing the nether. I mean, height-wise.
Mm-hmm.
They just fixed it. So I wouldn't expect much of that.
Yeah. That's kind of it for the news this week. And I guess for the foreseeable future. So guys, send in some listener comments, some host questions, stuff like that. Because we're obviously going to be needing to replace Minecraft news with something.
Yeah, make up news now. We're going to have to just make it up.
This week's news, Jimbo found out wood blocks can be chopped with an axe.
Dud stung for the 18th time.
Yeah, that's probably going to happen. But speaking of listener comments, we have one from High Hopes. They ask, in Bedrock, we have what's called Character Creator, which allows you to customize your character with preset designs for clothing and limbs. Would you want something like that added to Java? They put an edit in there saying that I'm not saying remove the current system in place, but in addition to, since some people find it challenging to design their own. And that's obviously the first thing. Mojang preaches we don't want to take anything away, we want to add on. And as someone who likes designing their skin, 100% you cannot take away my Miners Need Cool Shoes website to draw up my own skin. That has to stay. But at the same time, I agree. There are people out there who really struggle with creating their own avatar. So it kind of makes sense to have something like that added on.
Yeah, to where they can like piece it together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand that. It's not something I would take part in. I mean, I
Yes.
do want mine to be more unique. If you can make your own, the more unique it'll be. So that does help. When I did make my skin, the skin place I went to look for some. I mean, I went through different skins to try to get an idea of what my character was going to look like. And I think I went with he was in a suit, and I pretty much changed the head of it. And then over the years, I ended up changing the suit out. You helped me with this recent skin.
Yeah.
That I have with the vest. I really like the vest look.
Mm-hmm. I do too, because it gives you that suit look without being like everyone else who has a suit.
Right. Yeah, there's way too many characters with the suit. And again, if you do have this option, like in Bedrock, you're going to see not just people wearing suits, but the same one,
Mm-hmm.
Java gives you an opportunity to change all that. Anything, pixel by pixel.
You can do the pixel by pixel in Bedrock. I'm not sure how to do it, but I know it's possible, and it may only be possible for the PC version.
Yes.
Not the console version.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, adding a character creator that gives you a couple presets makes sense. I know Bedrock, it's a lot better models. If that makes sense. Like, you're not just stuck to Steve or Alex. Like, I think Sonic was the latest one that came out with a different model. When they did a Star Wars pack, you had like a Yoda sized model.
Yoda was cool.
Those are cool. You're not really customizing those per se, but those are nice. I don't know how those work though when you go to put armor on that model. Like, does the model change sizes? Are you still walking around? Is the hitbox the same?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's one thing. It's another thing. Yeah, I noticed I played with a guy with the Yoda skin, and his sword would like be above where Yoda was standing. And
yeah, see?
Don't know if he had armor on, really.
Those are things that would annoy me.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't want something like that.
Be cool if they had like a little adorable armor set for Yoda.
Yeah.
Like a little baby sword.
Could you imagine the work that would have to go into for every new model to remodel the armor that goes on these models?
Yeah.
It's a ton of work.
Unless that's part of the customization for your character. When you're making the skin, you can put the level of your helmet, the level of your sword, your tools. If they can implement that somehow. Again, I don't know what that would take to put into the game.
Yeah.
That might be the only way I could see it working.
Well, that, or you'd have the option to set armor to invisible.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't see it. But again, you have to wonder about the hitbox.
Right. I was just going to say that.
But what was it? Hightail came out with their own character creator, and they said, like, we have so many options. There's no way you're going to find the same person twice. And I still stand by, yeah, you will.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be that one model that a lot of people like.
Right.
And they're going to start using it. Won't be fully customizable, which to me is a bit of a downside.
Yeah. Like hair.
Yeah.
Hair or hats. People are going to find that cool hat or cool hair.
Yeah.
That everyone's going to have. Regardless of color, it'll be the same.
Mm-hmm. There's going to be this one baseball cap that just like every kid between the ages of 12 and 15 is just like, that's the cool hat. Bunk.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're going to have some YouTuber playing the game that wears that certain skin. Let's face it, Mumbo in the suit to me kind of seems like that's why it took off.
Right.
Then again, you got guys like Python, who's been rocking a suit for a while. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else.
Jimbo Slice. He wears a suit.
Jimbo Slice. No, you wear a vest, my friend.
Yeah, I switched it up. I think I did. I did get the idea from Mumbo, but I didn't want it to be the same. But again, I didn't customize it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I kind of found that one and then went from there.
Well, that's the same. Like when you look at my skin now, when I was redoing everything, it was mainly around the beard, how I wanted to do the beard on my skin.
Mm-hmm.
And I found my old eyes didn't work correctly. Like it didn't line up the way I wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just so happened to look over and see how Grian did his eyes. I was like, oh, okay, let's see if that works. I think mine are a little bit wider than his, like 1 pixel further apart, maybe. But yeah, it's like, that's different. That's inspiration and stuff.
Yeah.
But I always worry that using a character creator, you're just going to end up with the same person over and over again. That being said, I love having the option there for people who don't want to pixel by pixel design their own skin.
Now, how about this? In Hermitcraft this season, you have Scar's top hat.
Yep.
I don't know how he got that, but everyone's able to see it and wear it.
It's a texture pack done by... you keep talking, I'll find the name.
There's also the glasses with the big eyes.
Yeah.
The big red eyes. Tango's glasses.
Yeah, Tango sunglasses.
Yeah, and I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more of those. I didn't know that it was a texture pack, but it'd be nice to have items like that you can bring into the game to customize your character a little more.
I think I misspoke. It may not be a texture pack. It's a data pack that acts like a texture pack, I think. Mookie Tanuki. That's it. But yeah, it's a cool thing. That's something I would want to bring up for Ripple Effect. I don't really know if we'd be able to use it as well.
Yeah. I'm sure those textures, though, those items that they wear are all customizable.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure they didn't find the top hat that perfectly matched his suit, you know.
Exactly. Well, yeah, Tango's sunglasses are quite literally the eyes he was wearing off his head turned into sunglasses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like to see more of that. You know, maybe not make it a data pack. Make it a part of the game, if you could.
Well, I mean, I've been arguing for interchangeable armor pieces. Like, I want a diamond chest plate and netherite shoulders and stuff like that for a while.
Yeah.
Especially if I can build in some gold to my, I don't know, pants. So now I don't have to wear just straight up gold pants and worry about piglins in the nether.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see what the future holds for the skins.
Mm-hmm. But thank you for that, High Hopes. That comment was from our Discord, and our Discord is the only place you could talk to everyone who works on the show easily. Just take C3PO's word for it.
Hello, interwebs. I'm C3PO, a member of the Withering Effect Discord. A great place to talk to fellow like-minded Minecrafters and to get to know the people from the show. Sometimes there are even puppy pictures. Don't delay. Join the Discord today. Link is in the show notes. Toodaloo. Duds made me say that.
All right, thank you for the Discord ad, C3PO. And speaking of the Discord, it's the only place you can get involved in the Mending Minecraft vote. This week, we asked you to choose between one of 3 mobs for us to discuss. Your choices were Enderman, Ravager, Zombie Villager.
And the winner of Mending Minecraft this week is... Enderman.
Yep.
With a generated pick.
Yep.
Because there's technically a tie.
Mm-hmm.
The Enderman had 21 votes. Also the Ravager with 21 votes. But Carl is not gonna let it tie, guys.
Yeah.
You're not gonna end up with a tie. Carl's not gonna allow it. He did a random generator, and the Enderman won. And Zombie Villager had 13, by the way. But would you like to explain what we talked about before?
Yeah, so behind the scenes, we had another bet going on. Jimbo had the Enderman, I had the Ravager, Carl had the Zombie Villager. I think it was Carl who didn't have time to pick this time, so he kind of got stuck with the Zombie Villager. And same bet as last time, but obviously, technically, the Enderman and Ravager tied, and both me and Jimbo agreed it's not a win if it comes down to a coin flip.
Right.
So...
yeah, I'm not going to take that.
We're disallowing the bet basically this week. We'll pick another random Mending Minecraft to bet on again, but yeah.
I think when we finalized the bet, Zombie Villager had a slight lead, but it was all really close at the beginning.
Yes, Zombie Villager was ahead by 1 vote early.
Yeah, I think it was like 9, 9, and 10. It's a pretty close week.
Well, and Ravager held the lead after that first day for basically the entire time until yesterday, actually.
Yeah, I promise I didn't influence any votes.
Yep, that's part of the rules. You cannot influence the vote.
Mm-hmm. I could easily vote for it, but we're not allowed to keep our hands off him.
Yep.
Anyways, a few things on the Enderman. An Enderman is a neutral mob with unique teleportation abilities who will only attack players who look at its eyes or attack them first. Endermen have long legs and arms, purple eyes, and sometimes it picks up individual blocks and moves them elsewhere. It also emits purple-like particles. Enderman is the only mob that can naturally spawn in all 3 dimensions. They are very abundant in the end and spawn frequently in the nether warped forest. Wearing a carved pumpkin on your head allows you to look at the Enderman without them getting aggro. Enderman can drop up to 4 ender pearls or none. Enderman can take damage from water, including rain. And Endermen are naturally aggressive to Endermites and will attack any on sight.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
Yeah, so fixing the Enderman is a super big challenge. Because again, Enderman, I feel, is one of the more complete mobs in the game. They technically do a good bit. When you start to think about the fact they're a hostile mob that's not really hostile. They have a weakness for Endermites, which means they're also very easily farmable, which is nice. Yeah, for me, the big thing was Endermen shouldn't be allowed to pick up things anymore. I just don't see the point of it. I think every SMP I've ever been on, that's the first thing that gets turned off is no Enderman griefing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing a long world, you really don't want to have to deal with the random block placement of an Enderman.
Yeah, or maybe like put some stipulations behind it. There's actually a comment in the Discord about Endermen only taking blocks if they're aggroed. And that kind of makes more sense, that they just don't randomly pick them up. Maybe put something behind it to where they can only do it in a certain situation.
I guess, because you also have that kind of issue with creepers blowing up, destroying stuff. But if you play a creeper smart, you don't have to worry about it blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. To me, it's one of those random things you can't control that I'm not really a fan of.
Yeah, and the problem is, like, you can light your area up to where they don't spawn, but then they can teleport to that lighted up area and then take your blocks.
I live in the middle of an ocean. Basically, 90% of my base is half slabbed. And Endermen will teleport into my base all the time because they're spawning, and I'm in an ocean, so it's filled with water. The only place they can go is my base.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to constantly deal with those guys.
That's true. Yeah, there's also the debate in Discord with the name Enderman. Mojang did mention they like to keep all mobs gender neutral. They changed the pigmen to piglins.
Mm-hmm.
So someone mentioned, I think it might be Rebel JC, to change it to enderlings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm good either way. It doesn't really bother me. Just to play devil's advocate, I'll put out there the word human has man in it, but we know human is gender neutral.
Right.
But if they wanted to change it to Enderlings, it's not going to bother me. It's a name in a fictional game. I'm okay with it. If they're just doing that to kind of be consistent, yeah, I'm fine with it. But it doesn't really bother me. But if it's bothering somebody, I could see like, yeah, let's just go ahead and change it. It's not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But fixing an Enderman, kind of tough. You had mentioned something about pearls.
Yeah. Where did these pearls come from? I was thinking about that. Like, they drop up to 4 pearls, and there's nothing on the Enderman that could that signifies that they are holding pearls. You can't just find pearls anywhere else. They drop them, and you don't know where they come from.
They're pearl sack.
Yeah, you mentioned a pearl sack. So, what's a pearl sack?
It's like a bundle put with pearls.
Oh, now they got bundles.
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought that ender pearls were the Enderman eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, pearls look nothing like their eyes. And
right.
I've seen retextured ender pearls to kind of match the color of the eyes better. And maybe that's where I've kind of drawn that connection. And an Enderman only has 2 eyes. So if it drops 4 pearls, that's a little weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just carry them around. Maybe the pearls are part of the biology, and that's what makes them teleport. And then you can get that part of their...
Maybe it's an ender heart.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some kind of organ.
Yeah.
That you can use, that you throw.
It's the belly button of the Enderman.
You just throw their heart around and appear places.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always something I was thinking about. Like, where are these pearls coming from? They just have pearls on them in their pockets, in their ender sacks.
In their ender sacks. Yeah. I don't know. It makes sense that we kind of want a little bit of lore behind it, because that's a square mob with these round orbs coming out of it. I was going to say something else, but I realized it could be taken very wrongly, so...
Yeah, you think of pearls.
I wanted to reword that.
That could definitely be taken the wrong way. I was really watching what I was saying while talking about that.
Yeah, I know ender sacks is going to be taken wrong.
Yeah, just that in general.
Just that in general. But it was too easy to throw in there.
That's all I got for the Enderman.
Yeah, I mean, I think Endermen are good where they're at, except for them picking stuff up. As a, what I call villain mob, I think they're pretty good. Mm-hmm. They're annoying.
Yeah.
But they're pretty good.
They can scare the crap out of you.
Yeah.
But also live among you.
And they hit hard.
Yeah, they do. And they're very useful.
Mm-hmm.
Enderman farms, you need it. Kind of need one.
Yeah. Let's hop into the main topic today, which I found an article that said the top 5 best structures in Minecraft. Mm-hmm. And I read it, and obviously I didn't agree with it one bit. But...
No, not you.
I decided... yeah, not me. Dud's opinion is falsified. So we won't go with that. But I decided it'd be cool to talk about what's considered the best structure and the worst structure in Minecraft. Mm-hmm. But before we get into that, I also want to throw it out there. That was a huge challenge to come up with the best structure in Minecraft, because it's like, well, do you include the mobs that come with said structure? Do you include the loot that comes with said structure? Do you consider what you can farm with this structure? And I couldn't pick just one. From looking at the notes, it looks like Jimbo could not pick just one either.
Yeah, I've had quite a few honorable mentions, at least.
Yeah.
Pretty close calls.
Yeah, so the way we've kind of dallied this up is we've got best looking, most useful, interesting, and best farmable. And then we just have worst.
Yep.
for the bad one. Should we go ahead and get the worsts out of the way?
Yeah. You want me to start?
Yeah, you start with yours.
The desert well.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah, it's kind of pointless. You see it, you just walk right past it. There's nothing really involved with it.
Yeah, there should definitely be some treasure hidden at the bottom of the well.
And at first, initially, you would think there would be something underneath of it or around it, some kind of loot.
Yep.
But no, it's just a little patch of water that you can find probably 50 blocks away. Yeah.
Deserts, for being deserts, generally have a lot of rivers running through them.
Or near an ocean.
Near an ocean, something like that.
Yeah, you don't need the well to find water. There's water out there.
My worst is the ruined nether portal. Mm-hmm. It does have some stuff that might be good for early game, but I put it in the worst because it was implemented in the game to let people know how to make nether portals. Mm-hmm. And I think some of the ruined nether portals don't do a very good job conveying what it is. Basically because they're ruined to the point of I'll look at it and I'll go, what the heck is that? Mm-hmm. It would be a lot cooler if ruined nether portals aligned with something interesting in the nether.
Yeah.
I know that's probably really tough to do, but that's my one thought.
Yeah, they do have like a loot. There is a box there or a chest there with some loot. The loot isn't all that great. Like you might find some golden carrots or a compass.
It's not horrible early game loot. Like if you're day 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The loot in it's probably going to be a little useful for you. But you're in week 2. None of that stuff in that chest is worth anything.
Yeah.
Maybe a gold block if you find that.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Gold block, you do want to grab that. If you have the right pick, you might want the obsidian.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they put the crying obsidian blocks in there with the regular obsidian,
right,
which can definitely throw you off if you're new to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And how to make a portal.
Yeah.
And let's face it, if you don't know how to make a portal, then...
Yeah. I'm good with crying obsidian being inside the portal design if crying obsidian worked in another portal.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping it would.
Me too.
Switch up the portal look a little bit. They all look like.
Let's get into our best structure list. Let's start with best looking. When it comes to structures, we know Minecraft does we're going to put together a simple palette. We want our players to expand on the palette. We don't want to build the game for them kind of technique.
Mm-hmm.
Best looking isn't necessarily all that important, but I thought it was a good thing to add to the list. So, in your opinion, Jimbo, what's the best looking structure in Minecraft?
I think it's the end cities.
Okay.
I really like the uniqueness. I like how they implement it to the end, how they stand out. You look at how the chorus fruit grow in the end, and the end cities kind of do the same growth.
That's true.
I guess they're not growing, they're built that way, but yeah, I really like the way they implemented the end city. Design wise, I mean, I guess it could use a little work, but I think they look pretty cool.
Yeah. So you guys heard it here. Jimbo loves purple.
Oh my god. That's right. Yeah, the purple, not huge into that.
Yep. I have in city on my list at some place, not under best looking though.
Mm-hmm.
But I admit the structure outline is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I went with.
For my best looking, I did the pillager outpost.
Yeah.
I think that's the best looking structure in the game. I think the block palette and everything looks really good. It doesn't feel... You could have gone super plain with the pillager outpost, Mojang, but you didn't. It looks fantastic.
I agree. The block palette of the outpost has got to be the best.
Mm-hmm. And you got like the target scarecrows out there. You've got pins and stuff around it for animals and such.
Sometimes a caged iron golem.
Mm-hmm. They're very cool looking structures. I like them.
Yeah, but that'd probably be my second after end cities.
Moving on to most useful, we put the same answer down. I think everyone will say this for most useful. That's villages.
Right. I couldn't disagree.
Not even necessarily for the structure, but for the little guys in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not the structure in general. But yeah, I saw you put villages, and I'm like, that's it. I mean, I can't really put anything else.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Day one, you find a village, you're living in that village for a while. That's your home now because it gives a roof over your head. Day 96, you find a village, you're using that village to get villagers for a trading hall.
Yep. Food.
Super useful early game, super useful in game.
Yes.
So that's why it's the most useful.
I do have a runner-up.
Okay.
And that's the stronghold. The stronghold has the end portal in there.
Mm-hmm.
And every server uses, or in every world uses the end portal to get to the end. So it's got to be used. You have to use it. You can't really avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you don't want to go to the end, but why wouldn't you want to go get your elytra?
Yeah.
Or beat the game. You have to get there to beat the game. That's the most use from the stronghold. You're not going to use much else of it. But the end portal room is definitely
That's true.
second on my list for most useful.
Okay. I could see that. Well, and you also have the library, which is massive amounts of bookshelves and enchanted books and stuff.
Yes. That's one thing you want to find in the stronghold if it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Next is the most interesting.
Yeah.
And I put stronghold. Oddly enough.
You were getting that structure in this list at some point.
Yeah. Just because of, you have your library areas, and there's so many twists and turns and hallways. There's so much involved. You don't know what room is in the next. Sometimes there's spawners. There's hidden loot. It's I don't know, it's a lot of fun trying to find the end portal, but also exploring the stronghold. It's always really, really dark, and you never know what's around the corner. Mostly creeper around inside of that iron trap door.
Yeah.
Usually I break down the iron trap doors. I don't press the button.
Same.
Because if you press the button and you go in and there's a creeper, you got to press the button to get out, and that's not good.
Mm-hmm. Well, you also have another choice down.
Yeah, I also put Woodland Mansion for pretty much the same reason. You don't know what you're going to get.
That's true.
You know there's certain mobs that are in there that you can gain emeralds and Totem of Undying, but there's also rooms that generate randomly, and it's a lot of fun just to see what you're going to get. You also get a ton of bookshelves, like the Stronghold.
Mm-hmm.
The loot isn't too great, to be honest. You might walk out with like a stack of dark oak saplings.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, the loot isn't all that great, but just mining the items there or the blocks there is worth the exploration.
Yeah, that's true. To me, it'd be worth to get the illagers or whatever out of there to turn into Johnnies.
Right.
That's pretty fun. But other than that, I can't remember the last time I even went to a woodland mansion. Actually, yeah, last season going to Carl's base because it was a woodland mansion. But that was the only reason I went to the woodland mansions because Carl lived there.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's building at a woodland mansion this season on our server.
Yeah.
Or any server, actually. I mean, they're out there.
Yep.
What about you?
Under interesting, I put the End City.
There it is.
Because of that crazy shape, floating ships, and the crazy creatures that are on it. End City was my number 2 for usefulness just because of how useful shulker boxes are. When you really think about it, you can't beat a villager.
Mm-hmm.
You really can't. And the fact that a shulker box is technically an end game item, you have to beat the game or at least get to the end of game to get a shulker box. You can avoid the dragon by planking out and everything like that, but you're in the end game when you get to the end. So a villager is useful day one. So yeah, but in End City, the way they're structured is completely different from anything in the game. Like you said, it resembles a chorus fruit plant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Very unique.
Very unique. Don't like their colors though. Don't put purple near my base.
Don't put it as best looking like I did.
It is not the best looking.
But yeah, it's definitely interesting and unique.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing we have up here is the best farmable structure.
Yep.
We have 2 different ones.
We do. I want to put out that Jimbo wrote the notes best farmable.
I also put interesting instead of interesting. I misspelled. I misspelled both of those.
All right. But for your best farmable, what'd you pick?
My best farmable structure is the Ocean Monument.
Yeah, that was a close second for me.
I like the one you picked. I've actually dealt with both of these. But yeah, the Ocean Monument, I have fun raiding it, but once you get all that water out and you're able to farm those guardians,
yep,
the XP, the prismarine blocks, especially the prismarine crystals, what's that? With the light block. Why can't I think of it?
A sea lantern?
The sea lantern. Yeah, the sea lantern are very useful. And mainly the XP nowadays. It definitely competes with the Enderman farms.
Yeah.
It does take a while, though. It's not easy to build like the one you chose, which is
a witch hut. And I did not... The Ocean Monument lost. First of all, it was such a close one because, like you said, you have XP, you have food, you have good-looking blocks, you have a cool structure in general in the way it's shaped, which could also be a useful structure because I've seen people turn those into bases and stuff. I went, this is a good pick. The only reason it did not win Best Farmable for me was because the amount of grind work that goes into making a super efficient Guardian farm. Now, there are easier ways now with the soul sand and bubbling up, but even then, that's still a grind. And again, you're taking away some of the usefulness of the structure itself You're just harvesting the mobs. I guess we could say that about the villagers too, but at least early game, a village is useful in the fact that it gives you a structure to live in. But a witch hut is not a very pretty looking structure. It's not a very big structure, but when it comes to farmable, it's one of the easiest farmable structures now, especially considering you don't have to put the giant roofs on it anymore. You can use tinted glass. You can use zombie, what are they called? Hoglins to push the witches around.
Zoglins.
Yeah. You get redstone, glowstone, sticks, gunpowder, sugar.
Yeah, the drops.
You get so many things from that, and if you're smart, you can hook it up to be an XP farm. It kind of makes sense that it's the best farmable structure in the game.
Especially if you can get a few of them next to each other. If you can find farm multiple at a time, you're set. Like, you should never have to find redstone, gunpowder, glowstone. Finding glowstone in the nether can be pretty tedious process running around.
Yeah, it's definitely not hard, but it's a bit of a pain when you have to pillar over lava.
Yeah. Now, you can trade for those, right?
Yes.
With the piglins now?
I don't know if it's piglins, but I'm pretty sure you can trade with villagers. The cleric.
Yeah, for glowstone. But why trade if you can get them just dropped?
Yeah.
With the witch hut. Just something I've done this season. Did Ocean Monument last season and witch hut this season because they're two of the best farmable structures in the game.
Yep. That's exactly it.
Good pick.
Yeah. And obviously, to repeat, worst picks was Ruined Nether Portal and Desert Well.
I wanted to mention about the sunken ships, how useful they have gotten.
Yes.
I mean, usually, at the beginning of a game, one of the first things you want to find is a sunken ship. They have, iron in them. You can find emeralds and lapis. A lot of useful stuff in there also. It's one of my honorable mentions for a lot of these,
Yep.
Interesting usefulness. Even it even looks good.
It came under my interesting pick because it told a little bit of a story with it.
Right.
And the fact that you can get a sunken ship buried in a desert, seeing that's kind of cool.
Yeah, a couple of things we didn't mention were the bastion, the nether fortress.
Yeah.
Mine shafts. There's so many structures to mention, but these are just the ones we've chose for these categories.
We definitely want to hear what you guys would have picked.
Yes, should be a lot of fun.
But Jimbo, I think that's going to do it. We're running over on time. Thank you guys for stopping by. Before Jimbo reads us out, I want to say a huge thank you to all of our patrons who are supporting the show. Our milk level patrons are Aubni, ChiefBigBear, Crock, DeadWalker, FragileRock, ohbeep, and StoneFigure, and viperoustuna. If you too would like to get access to exclusive benefits and hours of extra content each month, please consider joining at patreon.com/The Withering Effect.
And if you like the show, you can share it with all of your friends and on social media. If you listen on Spotify, follow us, or if you listen on Apple Podcasts, leave us a nice review. Doing any of these really helps the show reach more listeners. If you'd like to get in contact with us, send an email to podcast@thewitheringeffect.com, tweet us, leave a voice message, or join our Discord where you can have a chat with everyone who works on the show and fellow listeners. All the links will be in the show notes.
This show has been brought to you by Jimbo and myself, but also our digital producer Carl. He helps make sure the show ends up where it should be, and the amazing music you hear in the intro and outro is created by the one and only Decoy. Everyone's social media info can be found in the show notes. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for getting withered with us. You should probably go drink your milk now. Bye.
See you guys.